Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, weekend lockdown now in effect, but not before forcing some engaged couples to rush to the altar. The COVID count inching closer to 5,000, plus dozens of tablets donated to Fort Charlotte students.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquim. Topping news tonight, the return of weekend lockdowns on New Providence forced several engaged couples to either push up their wedding ceremonies scheduled for this weekend to today or to delay those events. Meanwhile, many families that had planned to say a final farewell to their loved ones this weekend rushed to bury them today so that more than 10 relatives could attend. Already painful task of saying farewell to a loved one made more stressful for several families this week as a new round of restrictions to aid in the fight against COVID-19 take effect tonight. After being allowed to have indoor funeral services with a limited amount of people based on the size of the church, funerals are now back to a maximum of 10 people and only at the graveside. Demerit's Funeral Home Managing Director Laren Aswood said when the announcement was made on Wednesday, 5 of the funerals scheduled for Saturday were moved up to today.
All were scheduled for Saturday, and actually 5 were changed to today on Wednesday. So that was pretty tight, but we were able to pull it off. And we had one that's going to remain for Saturday, and the next one is now been postponed to Wednesday.
Aswood says as this isn't the first or second round of lockdowns, the company has gotten used to the uncertainty.
So we had to make some quick changes to our schedule. We had to contact family members and we had to make some adjustments.
But many brides and grooms also found themselves dashing to the altar today. While some made it, others decided to postpone or make a last-minute call to reduce their bridal party.
Well, for the most part, our business based on the ability for persons to be able to go out into public, to have these functions. We had a lot of weddings actually this weekend that had to be pushed up to Friday, today actually, because of the lockdown. So you go from weddings with maybe 6-7 persons, now you have maybe 1 or 2.
Classic formal wear manager Theo Stubbs says the constant lockdowns are taking a toll on not only those looking to get married, but is hitting the company's pockets hard.
Right now we're operating reduced hours, which is also affecting the staff, and those are families that need to be supported as well.
And with weddings and funerals, there is the need for floral arrangements. Pedal Pushers assistant manager Sydney Ouden says while it has been challenging during this time, the company has adjusted, ordering less and being mindful that a lockdown can come at any time.
Just ready for any change to happen because, something they can cancel or not cancel or, like you said, move forward. Just to be, ready to do whatever you can to assist the customer and the client. And that's the most important thing is whatever they need, you're there for them.
An employee of the Department of Inland Revenue was charged with extortion today. 51-year-old Hiram Cox pleaded not guilty to a single count of extortion of a public officer. He was represented by attorney Alex Morley at his arraignment. He will return to court on February 3rd. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases inching closer to 5,000. The Ministry of Health reported 151 new cases yesterday, with 115 cases on New Providence alone. Officials also reported 2 cases on the Berry Islands, 1 on Grand Bahama, 1 on Exuma, and 32 new cases with locations pending. There are now 4,864 cases in the Bahamas, with 2,084 considered active. 109 cases remain in hospital, while 102 people have died from the virus. The weekend lockdown, being used as a measure to help fight the rapid spread of the virus, took effect tonight with grocery stores and gas stations closed as well until Tuesday at 5 a.m. Meanwhile, Cabinet Office revealed that the cabinet ministers who were directly exposed to Environment Minister Omar Ferrero last week have tested negative for COVID-19. However, those ministers will continue to self-quarantine. In other news, Progressive Liberal Party Deputy Leader Chester Cooper is insisting the Bahamas is in a fiscal crisis. The PLP Deputy Leader says despite what some may hope, he believes it will take some time for the tourism industry to rebound. Here's Jasmine Brown.
We're in a fiscal crisis, and let's be clear that we've been in a fiscal crisis for quite some time. We've indicated that even before the COVID crisis, we had a lot of concerns about the government's mismanagement of the economy. excessive borrowing with very little to show, and the crisis has exacerbated the situation.
Cooper's grim assessment of the country's fiscal standing comes as the local economy continues to spiral as the global COVID-19 pandemic drags on. The revival of the tourism industry is widely viewed as the first step to getting the country's finances back on track. October 15th has been set as the day to relaunch the sector, though many major hotels have decided to delay their reopening.
We are hopeful, we are optimistic that we are able to rebound the tourism industry, although we are cautious given that our tourists must come from the U.S. and we're seeing some new surges.
Cooper said the PLP welcomes the government's decision to get rid of quarantine requirements for visitors, but still has some major concerns about the new protocols, which would require visitors to have a negative test within 7 days of travel and then receive rapid antigen tests upon arrival in the Bahamas and again 4 days after arriving.
7 months in, still no strategy, no economic plan, and therefore moving forward, we expect that the economy will continue to experience these struggles.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, the new 1-hour restriction on worship services is not a problem for some church leaders who say they will do whatever they must to spread the word of God while ensuring congregants are safe. Jillian Gray reports.
Come Sunday, churches will only have 1 hour for service. Despite the shortened time frame, churches say they're not deterred, and some say they are more than ready to adhere to the new restriction.
We're not here to fight the authorities. We're here to work with the authorities, and I think that's what the church do. But at the same time, we must know that our faith and trust is in God. Right. All right, so we're doing what we need to do to make sure that we follow the protocols, and our people at Living Waters know that once they get in this building, they're safe.
The new restriction for churches on Abaco and New Providence was announced earlier this week by the Prime Minister. Pastor Mario Moxie of Bahamas Harvest Church said churches must be careful while delivering the good news of the gospel. After preparing his sanctuary for in-person worship by sanitizing the facilities, installing hand sanitizer and ultraviolet lights in the air conditioning, their reopening plans were derailed due to a staff member who was exposed to COVID-19.
We're not under any delusion that we can guarantee a COVID-free environment because we can't. However, we have a corporate obligation to our staff, our volunteers, and to you, our congregation, who expect us to act responsibly. To this end, we're not prepared to risk exposing our congregation to COVID-19. Hence, the elders of our church felt it necessary to suspend in-person worship experiences indefinitely.
Both he and his entire staff were tested for COVID-19 yesterday. Abaco Pastor Silbert Mills, who recently battled COVID-19, said safety is the most important thing. His church will remain closed for at least another month, and he warned church leaders not to rest on their laurels.
I'm not bumping with no fists. I ain't coming close to nobody. I love you, but I don't want you to go through what I went through. I would not want to visit one of my parishioners at their bedside in the condition that I was in. Because if you got COVID, people are treating you like you had leprosy.
These pastors said it's been a trying time for everyone, and both leaders and congregants must remain anchored in their faith to get through. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
Agriculture Minister Michael Pintard says he is pushing for cabinet to allow for the production of hemp and cannabidiol, better known as CBD, in the Bahamas. This comes as the country awaits a decision on whether marijuana will be decriminalized or legalized. He said the country really needs to take a look at the production of industrial hemp.
That is something that has massive potential. We have been in numerous meetings with investors, Bahamians as well as otherwise, with respect to industrial hemp. That is not the hemp. That is not what you smoke. You don't get high by it, no matter what about is consumed. In fact, it is used to produce a wide range of products, everyday products that you and I would use.
The Marijuana Commission has already presented a report to government with recommendations on whether the country should decriminalize the plant for medicinal or recreational use. Pintard says the Bahamas has an opportunity in front of it with industrial hemp and CBD that he thinks cabinet should not slunk on.
It is my intention to ask the cabinet that we proceed in terms of separating that until the question of cannabis has been settled. Let's deal with what should not be a controversial issue. Secondly, CBD products as well, which again, do not have the THC in it, which would in fact get somebody high, the things that concern a great many Bahamians.
The family of a young mother who was stabbed to death on Grand Bahama last year is concerned about the whereabouts of the man accused of her murder after police issued a wanted bulletin for him. Jared Hicks has the story.
So I think that Nassau needs to issue something because the public needs to know.
Owen Darville is demanding answers from authorities over their confusion surrounding the location of the man accused of killing his cousin, Monet Darville.
To our family, she was our firecracker.
Back on Christmas Eve of 2019, a wheelchair-bound Kenrick Hanna was charged with the September 2019 murder of his 30-year-old girlfriend. The incident took place in Grand Bahama. Hanna was granted bail, but in July, his suretors told the court they no longer wished to vouch for him. Hanna was taken back into custody on July 24th, according to Deputy Registrar Edmund Turner. Turner says, according to Hanna's file, he's still in custody. But Commissioner of Corrections Charles Murphy confirmed to our news team that Hanna was released from custody by the courts on July 29th.
The public at large has not been notified by Nassau News, by the papers. I think that there's no wanted poster by Nassau. They can care less.
Officers in Grand Bahama issued a wanted flyer for Hanna last Friday, saying he violated his bail. However, officers on New Providence, where Hanna was granted bail and has been living, haven't released a wanted flyer for him. It's discouraging for the woman's family, who say she left behind a young daughter.
I think that she matured significantly the moment that her daughter was born, and she became career-driven. Out of everything that Monet was, career-wise, personally, beside all of that, she was an amazing mother to her now 10-year-old daughter.
Our News reached out to Police Commissioner Paul Roll. We are waiting for a response. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
More news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Outside our studios, very nice conditions. The winds have died down somewhat. They're still out of the east-southeast at 5 knots. Temperature right now at 83 degrees with just a few clouds outside our studios. Feels like temperature around 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Satellite-wise, high pressure remains in charge. We still have that easterly flow, but it's bringing a little more moisture across our area, so we're seeing some clouds, some isolated showers, some thunderstorms across our area. Most of that will be moving towards the west. That is your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, a former attorney general likens new COVID restrictions to a battle axe. Plus, how healthcare workers on Grand Bahama are faring amid lower COVID cases on that island. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Former Attorney General Alfred Sayers, QC, says the Minutes administration's decision to implement strict COVID-19 protocols on New Providence and Abaco is like using a battle axe to treat an issue that requires a much more delicate approach instead of what he called the government's slash and burn method. Jasmine Brown reports.
Sayers says the COVID-19 crisis has gotten so serious here in the Bahamas that he believes it will take more than the Prime Minister delivering the harshest of restrictions.
I believe, as the World Health Organization has indicated, that lockdown is a battle axe. What is needed are a scalpel approach. A battle axe is a very crude maneuver. You know, it's like a slash and burn.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced on Wednesday that weekend lockdowns will be implemented on New Providence and Abaco, which continue to record a spike in COVID-19 cases. The lockdowns will begin on Fridays at 7 p.m. and last until 5 a.m. on Mondays. However, because of National Heroes Day on Monday, the curfew will end at 5 a.m. on Tuesday.
In the absence of more scientific data it is very, very difficult to use a more sophisticated approach.
Sayers, who revealed that he previously tested positive for the deadly virus, said the government must do more testing in order to properly diagnose the extent of the problem in the country. There are nearly 5,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the Bahamas. Health officials say 1 in every 100 New Providence residents has been infected with COVID-19. Sayers called on the government to produce a more comprehensive plan to deal with the health and economic crisis. The former AG added that Bahamians are looking for leadership that reports and accounts. Otherwise, he said, trust in the government will decline.
Once there's a lack of trust, then there will be revolt. There will be resistance. There will be resentment. And I certainly wouldn't want us to move in that direction. And that's why there needs to be a logical, rational strategy.
Sayers, who confirmed he plans on running as a candidate in the Fort Charlotte constituency for the PLP in the next general election, also was adamant that all stakeholders, including the opposition and government, must work together. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
A senior health official on Grand Bahama is expressing concern as students on that island return to the classroom. Berthany McDermott has more.
This segment brought to you by Grand Bahama Power.
As Grand Bahama students return to the classroom for in-person learning, Grand Bahama Health Services Administrator Sharon Williams says she is concerned and is advising parents to pay close attention to their children.
We're certainly concerned about the return to school, and we're asking our parents to guide their students, the teachers to guide their students in observing all of the regulations, the sanitization, the social distancing to support the continuance of decrease.
Grand Bahama has seen a drastic decrease in new COVID-19 cases in recent weeks. Grand Bahama Health Services Medical Chief of Staff Dr. Freeman Lockhart reiterated a number of steps residents can take to boost their immune system. On Friday, the Rotary Club of Freeport donated 9 oxygen concentrators. Lockhart said the donation will help to care for hospitalized COVID-19 patients.
Almost all of our COVID patients that require hospitalization require some degree of oxygen assistance. And in the event where piped oxygen is not available, then an oxygen concentrator is a major help in providing assistance.
Williams said the equipment will also be distributed among clinics on that island. Rotary Club of Freeport President Othniel Pinder said the donation came from the Mayfield Beach Group.
That the COVID-19, one of the main things about it is their breathing. And so we find it fitting that this time to be able to donate these machines to assist the Grand Bahama Health Services in their efforts in having our patients or the patients that contract this virus to nurse them back to health.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Still to come, how confident are tourism officials that major resorts will reopen this year? Plus, 100 students in Fort Charlotte get the much-needed gift of tablets. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
After being closed for nearly 7 months, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says he is confident that major resorts like Bahama and Atlantis will reopen by the end of this year. On Thursday, Bahama President Graham Davis says he's hopeful that the Cable Beach property will reopen in 2020. De Aguilar said tourism officials are in negotiations with resorts to pinpoint a reopening date, adding he feels encouraged.
Oh yeah, I feel confident. Yes, we are in negotiations with the hotels on what they would need to open, and that process is ongoing. I'm encouraged, and well, we'll wait and see who decides to open. I think they want to get a feel for how business is going to do. They each have to evaluate what they feel their level of business is. But a number of the hotels are very encouraged to get back open and get people employed.
151 new COVID cases were confirmed by the Ministry of Health last night. Dagler stressed that in order for the major resorts to reopen, Bahamians must do their part to help curb the number of COVID cases.
You know, we have to do our part, and we have to get the numbers down. So that's our part of the deal. And anybody who sees anybody violating the rules, having parties, congregating and gathering, it's important that they inform the authorities in order to encourage them to not do that, because that's what's contributing to community spread.
Former Member of Parliament for Fort Charlotte, Alfred Sears, in the Fort Charlotte Community Development Center donated more than 100 tablets to students who live in that community today. Sears, who was accompanied by members of the association at his Market Street office, explained that the 120 electronic devices are for students who were not able to attend the community summer camp this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, 10 tablets will be given out to teen camp counselors and teachers who have volunteered at the summer camp. Chairwoman of the association, Donna Moxie, says the tablets will go a long way in helping students of that community adapt to online learning. Moxie says the summer camp has been held in Fort Charlotte for the last 19 years. Still to come, what's happening in sports, and later on, the Cable Bahamas Business Solutions Market Watch. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
In sports, Jazz Chisholm and the Miami Marlins eliminated from the playoffs. Marcellus Hall has that.
Bahamians taking an interest in the Major League Baseball playoffs last night because our fellow Bahamian Jazz Chisholm making his playoff debut as the Marlins try to stave off the Atlanta Braves. Bahamian Jazz Chisholm making his playoff debut as the Florida Marlins, or rather the Miami Marlins, taking on the Atlanta Braves in a do-or-die situation. Marlins coming into the series, this game 2-0, needing to win this one to stave off elimination. Jazz getting the nod at second base, batting in the 6th spot, and he would have a bit of an impact in this one. Actually draws a walk in one of his at-bats and then comes up with a big double off the wall, just missing a home run in the 9th inning with his team down 7-0. Jazz and the Marlins unfortunately come up just a bit short as they go down 7-0, being swept from the playoffs. 7-0 your final score. On to some football news where the NFL set to continue with NFL action with Week 5 set to continue. Last night's Thursday night football game saw the Buccaneers and the Bears going right down to the wire. Bears getting the win as they're able to hold off the Buccaneers. 20-19 ends up being the final score. Nick Foles getting the win over Tom Brady. And of course, Week 5 activities will continue this evening with a ton of games on the schedule for you. Let's give you a full breakdown as we take a look at your upcoming schedule. And don't forget, Game 5 of the NBA Finals comes your way this evening. The Lakers hoping to finish off the Miami Heat. They're hoping to keep the series alive. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall.
And that's a look at news. We throw it back to meteorologist Greg Thompson for the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle. In our second look at weather, we take a look at a satellite picture across our area. High pressure remains in charge. Quiet weather, some isolated showers and thunderstorms. Of course, Hurricane Delta is out there in the Gulf of Mexico affecting the Gulf Coast, and it should be moving inland later tonight and into tomorrow. Your boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the east to southeast at around 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet. Low tide will be at 8:16 tonight. Now a look at your national forecast. Now we'll look at your extended forecast through Wednesday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe night and a great weekend.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions, the experts for all your business needs. This has been your Financial Market Minute. Cable Bahamas Business Solutions, giving you trusted solutions that work for you and your business. Contact us today.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Stay tuned for the launch of Shakespeare in Paradise and The Real Thing right after this. Have a good evening, Thomas.